All right, I'm gonna try this again. So, what do I want to say? What I want to say is something that happened a long time ago. Was something that affected my life, and I didn't know how it would affect my life. Although I did know that it would be something that would help me to get in touch with my heart because a lot of my life I disregarded that part of my person because I felt like focusing on my heart was something that I could do, but rather than doing that, I figured I should focus on how can I have a full experience of living, not just, you know, oh, this is fun. Oh, this is good. This is nice. Oh, what do I do to have things better? I I didn't want to I didn't want to focus on that until I felt like I deserved it in a sense because I don't know. I think for some reason my life was so mixed up, so confusing when I was younger because things weren't fair. Things weren't um, good, really. I mean, it's not like they were terrible, but they weren't really good. I feel like there was something that I knew I could experience in my life that I wasn't experiencing because there's some sort of miscommunicated way of existence that I had for most of my life based on the people I was around. My mom, my dad, my brother, my friends. I feel like the communication with all of us was wrong. It was it wasn't terrible, but it wasn't true. It wasn't pure. It was more like enjoyable or um, convenient or um, bearable. It wasn't it wasn't like genuine heart to heart everything. And I think that was something that I kind of longed for. I feel like I wanted to have, experiences that felt amazing. Experiences that felt like they were very um, thoroughly planned out or very very specific as far as having it be um, really amazing situations. Um, and again, I'm not saying that I had really bad situations, but it didn't feel like it was really what I wanted. It was more I was going along with what other people were providing or what other people were suggesting, and I was like, well, all right, well that's what you guys want. That's not what I want, but okay, I guess I'll just go along with that. But then, when I would spend time by myself or when they're talking to each other, they're doing whatever they're doing, I would, I would think about what is it that I want? What is it that I truly want with my heart? Why am I experiencing life just to go along with a situation that didn't feel complete? It didn't feel complete. It felt like there was something missing um, as far as the connection to existence and, uh, and how things were experienced. So, anyways, I think there's been many times where I've tried to communicate to someone maybe a thought that I have that I really feel strongly about, and I'm thinking at the moment that they're going to feel similar to me because I feel a certain way and I want to communicate that. And so I'm excited. Maybe I'm listening to music and it's making me feel really good. It's making me feel some sort of um, impact in my feelings of how things are as far as you know the reality of you know the heart beating, but feeling like it's beating with the same rhythm it's supposed to be beating, not beating just to beat. Um, anyway, so I don't know. There's so much I could say, and I'm glad to. To be honest, I'm glad that this other video didn't work because now I realized I don't need to talk about that again. I already talked about that, and that was that. Now I ought to just talk about what I guess what I'm supposed to talk about. So yeah, I experienced some very interesting things when I was living in New York, and those were things I wanted to experience. I feel good about what I went through and what I achieved. Um, but I just think it's interesting because I thought I was going to go to New York and I was going to just get my magazine into Barnes and Noble, and that wasn't going to be easy. That I didn't know if it would happen. I didn't know if they would just deny me or whatever. But I figured, I might as well try. And I remember I was at a situation where I was almost. Let me just make sure it's still recording. Oh wow, it's long. Nice. I was at a situation where I figured I was just about at the point where things were gonna really go in the way that I really wanted them to. As far as I remember, I finished my magazine. I was laying in bed with Shiho, and I told her, I said, I'm done. I'm actually done with my magazine. And she didn't even believe me. She's like, oh no, you're not fully done. And no, I was like, I actually, honestly, genuinely, for real, know that this is how I should finish it. It is finished. And yeah, so I ordered the magazine, and I haven't really ordered things like that. Those that specific. Like it's one thing to order something online and have it shipped to you, like some bike or some video game system or some food product or whatever, but to have it be something that you have worked on for years and years and years, to have it be a certain way, but you didn't know what the way it was going to be. Only you had an intention for it to be something that felt genuine. And I honestly feel that when I got to that point, October 2017, I was like, all right, that's it. I am there. I got it. And I remember I ordered the magazine from San Francisco, and about 2 weeks went by, and it arrived at me and Shiho's apartment. And I remember I opened it up and I was like, oh my God, I can't believe I actually have the magazine now. Like, after all this time. There was a point I remember when I printed the whole magazine out, and I had it, but it was a draft that I printed out from home, and it was not the full size, black and white. And whenever I would show people, they'd be, oh, it's like a zine, and I'm like, no, it's not a zine, it's a real magazine. It's just this isn't how it's supposed to look. This is how it looks, because this is making sure. And it's like, but there were certain things I needed to finish, I had the writing, but I didn't want it to be just typed. I wanted it to be handwritten. I wanted it to have a real feeling of truth, not just, oh, all right, I'll type it up and then print it. Like, no, I can't do that. That's not me. That's wrong. So I rewrote everything, and I made and it took so long, and I resized things, and just, oh, fix things up in Photoshop. I mean, there were so many things that I did that I felt I had to do for it to actually be what I truly wanted from my magazine. And yeah, so then when I finally finished after all that time, freaking 6 years, I was like, all right. So then it's just funny because when I think back on that time, like that was a time that I really felt like I was doing what I knew I had to do. And there wasn't anyone else that was, you know, telling me that you should be doing this, you have to be doing this, you know, this is what you know you're being paid for or whatever. None of that. It was all just simply me knowing that it's what I had to do to feel good about my life and not feel like I was going in a direction that was not truth. It was just like, oh, I could work for Sesame Street, or oh, I could work for MTV, or oh, I could work for, you know, Wired magazine or whatever. It's like all of that was interesting, but it wasn't what I really truly wanted. And what I realized was what I truly wanted was to be able to know some reason for why I spent all those years making art. It wasn't to have my art look like my uncle's art, because my art does not look like my uncle's art. um I mean, yeah, I mean, when I was younger, I see my uncle's art and I was inspired, and I, you know, tried to make my art realistic because he has realistic art. But, you know, I think early on I realized realistic art is not really the end to, you know, what I was trying to do, you know, because if you have very realistic art, you know, it's like it's kind of like playing the guitar. Like when you play the guitar and you're like, or whatever, it's like super skillful or whatever. Like it's fun, I guess. It's interesting, but it's not truth. And that's why, like, same with painting photorealistic. It's like very skillful, very interesting, amazing, but yet it's not truth. It's like you trying to pretend like you are able to create this thing that is just like reality, when you're not doing that. You're doing a part of what you think is interesting in a certain small amount of, you know, some situation that maybe you find to be important, and you say, all right, I'll stick with that, and I'll try and, you know, make that, you know, realistic or whatever. But yeah, I mean, for whatever reason, there's a lot of different things that, you know, you can kind of put together and make it kind of come together and feel like it's some sort of truth versus oh yeah, but I wanted her to do this, and I didn't have time to do it because of this or that, and like, oh, I wish I would have done this, but I couldn't because this happened, and like, no, there's certain times where you'll feel like I did what I was supposed to do in my own heart, and now I can go from there. And yeah, so like, I was just inspired because, I mean, I'm in this neighborhood in Kobe, and I like it a lot. And, you know, I had to do some laundry, and I did some laundry, and it's like, laundry is like a very normal, basic thing to do, but yet, even though it's a normal, basic thing, there's a lot involved. Like, even though you can just simply take a coin that you saved in your, you know, saved in your pocket from some other purchase or whatever, and you can just be like, all right, I'm gonna take this, and then I'm gonna put it in the machine, and then I'm gonna wait, and oh, I have to wait this amount of time. Yeah. It's like, it's a simple process, but it's complicated. It is actually very complicated, because first of all, this dot is not just a piece of metal. It's not just a piece of art. It's not just metal. I mean, there's a lot to this situation. First of all, then you have the you know machine, the laundry machine. It's made by some humongous process of manufacturing all these different parts and put them all together and creating, this thing that makes it so that you don't have to freaking take your clothing and put it in a bucket of water and use your own hands. You paid for this machine to do what you could do by yourself. It's not that hard to wash your hands. It's not that hard to wash your clothing with your hands. But because of our, I don't know, our way of existing in this very complicated world, we make things that make our lives easier, and then we can work on other things that are more appealing to our time, and so that's so interesting. But a lot of my life, I didn't allow myself to really fully comprehend what it is that I feel about situations. Like when I was younger, when I had to do laundry, all right, whatever, I'll put my clothing in the laundry and do whatever, and then when it's ready, whatever. Like, it just whatever. It really did not faze me. But that's because when I was younger, I just have a laundry thing in my parents' house and whatever. It's nothing. But as I experience different things, as far as doing things on my own, I began to realize that just basic things like doing your laundry is actually something that is so complicated. But unlike what I did when I was younger, is that I disregarded the fact that it was complicated and didn't allow myself to think about that, and just played video games or something while there was laundry or something. So it's pretty funny to think about, how things have shifted as far as what's important now, And it's interesting. I remember when I was in Hong Kong, I decided, you know what, I want to come to Japan. When I get to Japan, I don't have a visa, but maybe I could get a visa. Well, what visa would I get? And like, I came to the realization that, I played a lot of video games when I was a kid. So, and of course, it was with PlayStation, which is made in Japan. So I'm like, when I come to Japan, I should like do something about that. I shouldn't just pretend like what had happened all those years ago were just the past. I should be like, wow, like, like this fucking part of the world affected my life and affected so many other people's lives as well. But I don't think that for me, I can just pretend like, oh, Mario Kart, or oh, I don't know, Dragon Ball Z, or all that bullshit. Like, that's not my existence. I don't want to be, like that. Like, to me, it's not just like fun and games, even though it is a game system and it is fun. So that's why I thought about it when I was in Hong Kong, and I was like, huh. So I remember I would be doing different things, ordinary things, and I'd be taking pictures and videos of just ordinary things that I was doing, and I was like thinking about it in the sense of like how games are created. And so I had to look back on my footage, but I hope it's recording all this audio. I'm gonna talk for another 2 minutes. So I'll stop it. I hope all this audio is recorded. Sometimes it only records the fucking video and not the audio. I really hope it's recording the audio. But anyways, I'll just continue. So yeah. So what I did was I don't know. I'd be like, for example, I'd be going somewhere, and I'd be like, all right, what am I doing? And it'd be like, all right, I have my foot going like this, and I'm looking at my feet moving. And then it'd be like, oh, what do I see in front of me? And then it'd be like, oh, I see this. And then like, how do I think about what I see? And then like, oh, there's other things around, and like, so I kind of like tried to think about that in the sense that like I was living in Hong Kong, but yet Hong Kong was the place that really made me realize that, wow, like, you know, Asia had a big impact on people's lives, and I didn't want to disregard that. I didn't want to just put it on the side and just say, all right, whatever, like, I don't care, I'm American or something. No. So that's why I just decided, you know. So I was like, all right. So I freaking went down to the area in Hong Kong that the video game was based on, in that neighborhood, and I was like, what the fuck, like, what is this, you know? And like I had a really really interesting experience there. I mean, my parents thought I was missing because my phone wasn't charged and because I didn't contact them. They fucking posted on the internet that I was missing, and all these people were like, oh my god, I hope he's okay and all this. And meanwhile, the only thing I was really doing is I was trying to fucking find my soul. I wasn't trying to just fucking call my parents, post on Instagram, because like posting on Instagram and calling my parents is not pure, genuine heart. That's not real. That's just like this one part of existence that is fun and interesting and, you know, exciting, but it's not really what I was trying to experience. So that's why I really focused when I got to that neighborhood where that game Fear Effect was based on, and yeah, so that's why I'm really thankful that I experienced that, because that wasn't easy, and I experienced some like spiritual stuff with connecting with my brother, with my best friend, my first girlfriend, hell, you know, just a bunch of stuff. So yeah, I'm glad that I went through all that to then now be in Japan, and I'm like, wow, you know, how do I do what it is I want to do here? Not just, you know, oh, there's this other language that I wasn't brought up speaking, or interesting, or, you know, like, that's not why I'm here. I'm not here to just like think about that shit. I'm here for a different reason than that. But what is that reason? I don't know exactly, but you know, I do know that Shiho's birthday is coming up soon, and I was thinking about seeing if I could like meet her sister in Osaka. I was also thinking about contacting her on email, but then I'm like, my heart was like, nah, don't do that. You don't need to. And then yeah, but like I said, her birthday's coming up very very soon, and I was walking through this neighborhood. Was it in Nara or was it here? And I fucking saw her name. I think it was in Chinatown. Yeah, I fucking see her name, Shiho, and I'm like, wow. So yeah, hard to say why things, you know, are the way they are, because you know, it's not easy to really, you know, accept the truth of why things are the way they are. Sometimes you can like, you know, like, oh, well, maybe it's this or maybe it's that, or I'd like to know, but I don't know, you know, or something. But like, nah, there's some things where you'll just know. Like, for example, this fucking cat. Look at this cat. It's kind of like Shine. A little bit like Shine. I mean, It is. I freaking printed out a picture of Shine, and look at this freaking cat. It's kind of similar. It is. It's it's a real nice Nippon Neko. Nippon no Neko.